Georgia couple is sentenced to 100 years behind bars after adopting two young boys to repeatedly rape. The dads even installed cameras throughout their family home to capture this ongoing sexual abuse. If that wasn't enough, though, they posted the images and videos online so other predators could view these horrifying crimes. We cover a lot of really intense topics here on Law and Crime, and this one is truly one of the more messed up stories I've ever looked at. I mean, we're talking about two young children who are the victims in this story, which unto itself is heartbreaking. But it's an added layer of depravity when we consider that the bad guys in this story are actually the boys' parents. A family's home is supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be a place where the kids can trust their parents and feel at home. But instead, first responders call this a house of horrors. That's a direct quote. Take this.
It's also supposed to be a man and a woman.
As your trigger warning, because right now we're going to dive into those details. The parents in this case are 34-year-old William and 36-year-old Zachary Zulock. They're a married couple out of Walton County, Georgia, which is just east of Atlanta. We're not revealing their sons' names to keep the boys' privacy, but we can tell you that right now they're ages 10 and 12, and they were adopted by the Zulocks through a Christian special needs agency. Outwardly, the Zulock family seemed to have
And they just sped right by that Christian Zulock agency. That place needs to be investigated for this couple, first of all, to attach themselves to the word Christianity and live in this demonic lifestyle is problematic.
All. William worked for the government and Zachary had a job in banking. Their home was upscale too in a nice neighborhood of Loganville, Georgia. They posted pics online that were smiling, happy, basically looking like they were the picture perfect family. They even have a photo wearing shirts that say, "Love my family," with the rainbow flag in support of pride.
I'm sorry. I mean, when a gay couple wants to adopt a child, I just have concerns about that. I have huge concerns about that. And
but behind this facade, there was something much more sinister. Now, the investigation dates back to July 2022, when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to this tip, child sex material was traced to an IP address in Walton County, Georgia. That's the same area where the Zulock family lived. But the person behind this address, it was actually a man named Hunter Lawless, who was caught downloading homemade child porn onto his computer. Lawless fessed up.
They keep calling them a family. It's not a family.
Right away, though. He admitted to the crime, but he told investigators it wasn't him who created these images. Instead, he said the person behind this child porn sex ring was a man named Zachary Zulock. And he said Zachary had sent him these images and videos, and in the past, offered his sons up to Hunter Lawless. Just a quick note here, Hunter Lawless pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of children and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His arrest also led to the arrest of Luis Vicaro Sanchez, who was eventually charged and sentenced to 60 years in prison. Meanwhile, the investigation pointed back to the Zulock family. Inside their home, investigators collected 7 terabytes of child sex material. Let that number sink in.
7 terabytes.
A terabyte holds 1,000 gigabytes. That's anywhere between 200,000 and 500,000 pictures. Or if it's video, it's 500 hours. That means these dads had more than 3,000 hours worth of child pornography recordings of their.
And there she goes again, calling them dads. These are not dads. These are demonic queers, fags, or whatever.
Own sons. And if you want to quantify that in photos, we're talking upwards of 3.5 million pictures of two young boys, now ages 10 and 12. Investigators later revealed that the dad set up security cams in their home.
Never gonna, and they keep saying dads.
Cams inside of our home, but these cams
nuts.
These are security reasons. Instead, They were used to record the sexual abuse that was taking place all over the home. Investigators say both parents repeatedly raped these boys and recorded it with video or photos. But
apparently the agency that adopted that let the adoption go through never followed up, never did any interviews with these people. Sick.
that wasn't all. They also admitted to all of these crimes in texts and social media messages. Investigators say the men would brag to their friends, saying they planned to have sex with their sons, and then they would follow up after they carried out this really disturbing act. Both men eventually admitted to this, saying to investigators that they sodomized the boys and forced them to perform oral sex on both parents. Here's how the charges broke down. William Zulak was charged with 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children, and a couple other sexual offenses. Zachary Zulak was charged with 2 counts of aggravated sodomy.
I'm just going to say this, man. By default, when you engage in a gay relationship, you wanting a child is sick. You thinking that you deserve a child is sick. It's sick, and it should be outlawed. And that goes for a gay female couple, gay male couple. When you decide to lay with the opposite sex, you know by default that you cannot reproduce. You should never be given a child. Never.
Three counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation of children, 2 counts of pandering for a person under 18, and other sexual offenses. Now, William pleaded guilty to all these charges back in August, and Zachary pleaded guilty to all but 1 charge. That didn't work out for him, though, because he took it to a bench trial and was found guilty there. Just this month, both men were sentenced to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole, meaning they'll spend the rest of their lives behind bars. This case is truly one of the most disturbing.
Somehow, I don't think they'll have a problem with that. It's sick as fuck, right, man.
Covered in my career, I'm still trying to make sense of it all. Let's bring in trial attorney Krista Raymond.
There is no sense to make of this shit.
Have you ever seen a case like this before?
You know, it's like, no. Well, first of all, no. And it's almost as if
she's a fucking liar. She's seen a case like this. She's heard of cases like this before. Gay couples should not be given access to children, period. If you decide to be with somebody of the same sex, you give up your opportunity to raise and rear children. I don't know what this sick ass experiment we got going on in America, but keep doing it, and these little boys' assholes are gonna keep getting raped. Sick.
Adopted these children for this explicit purpose, to exploit these children. And so it's just, it turns my stomach. It's terribly disturbing.
The details of the case are very disturbing, upsetting, as you said. But let's start way at the beginning, the adoption. What you said, I think, kind of sounds true, the fact that they adopted these kids with the intent to abuse them. But it does get me thinking, we have a huge need for adoption.
What do you think these 2 fruit pops' intentions were with children? Little boys. Both of them look like they were raped when they were little. Now we live in a society that's so fucking sick that these 2 queers, these 2 fucking nuts, And them little boys are fucked up forever now. Fucked up.
In our country? How can we make sure that these adoptive parents aren't going to, I know this is an extreme, obviously, but make sure that they're going to treat the kids right?
In every state, including Georgia, there are so many safeguards that are put into place before a parent can legally adopt a child. There are home visits, there are background checks, there are references required, there's drug screening. The children have to be at least 10 years younger than the adoptive parents in Georgia, specifically. They have all of these systems in place to help screen out this, but you can't screen out for everything. And
They
so
gay. They
that,
two faggots. That's
here,
should be enough screening right there.
Just got missed, but it's troubling to me that they got missed because this couple clearly has.
It's not a fucking couple. It's fucking two faggots.
Fetish that was discussed among their friend circles, apparently, of being attracted to young boys, and so I think that there should have been some red flags in the background check.
And this white bitch is getting on my nerve because she's acting so fucking surprised, like as if she's not ever heard of a fucking Jeffrey Epstein or some of these other fucking nuts. She's just so surprised that this could happen.
Missed
Bitch.
In this case that should have probably been caught.
You mentioned the discussions with their friends, and that was something that just turned my stomach completely. There was at least one message with their friends, and one of the dads said something like, "I'm going to have sex with my son, stand by." That right there, black and white.
And just like right now, for me using this fucking language, talking about these fucking faggots, you fucking too will fucking block me. But they'll let these fucking faggots get online and openly talk about having sex with their fucking sons. And nobody can catch that. I can play one fucking 3 seconds of a fucking record, and they got so much technology to catch that shit. It's a fucking sick place, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're admitting to what's going on. You said, son, that's incest. He's obviously under 18 years old. So that's basically a confession written right there. Why would this person write that out to their friends and then investigators can now use it against them?
Because they truly have a diagnosable mental illness. They have pedophilia, they have a sexual disorder of some other sort as well. And I don't believe.
Did you hear what this crazy bitch just said? She says them motherfuckers have a mental disorder. Georgia, don't you have the death penalty? This would be a perfect case to bring back the fucking death penalty. And stop letting kids be in the company of two faggots at home, and then you're surprised this happens. Look at them fucking dudes. Somebody's been playing with them dudes' asshole forever. Two sick motherfuckers that found each other and got a community of these motherfuckers. And we just acted as if we got to get along with these sick motherfuckers. Hitler had it right.
Have a diagnosable mental illness. They have pedophilia, they have a sexual disorder of some other sort as well. And I don't believe that they think that they will get caught. I it doesn't make sense to me that people would engage in this kind of conduct without knowing that. But there are the children, the Center for Missing Children and Exploited. I'm saying this wrong. The Centers for Missing and Exploited Children do wonderful work in trying to find all of this material that's online.
How in the fuck do they do wonderful work trying to find, and this shit continues to happen? Obviously, there's a fucking failure in the system. For two faggot motherfuckers to go and straight up and down walk into the office and take two kids. And you hear people talking about how hard it is to get one child, and these faggot motherfuckers able to grab two. But faggot is a bad word. It's offensive. These little niggas, these little niggas assholes is offended. Tell you what, if something happens to them in prison, and the inmate's name is released, who does whatever to whatever, I wonder will they still be eligible for commissary? Fucking sickness.
Because a lot of times what they're doing and what happened here is that they're not only having sex with their children, they're posting it online. And I read a story prepping for this interview that just recently, this month, 49 accounts were taken down on OnlyFans fans that were suspected of having what's called CSAM material, which is childhood sex abuse material. And it is just stunning to me that that can even exist online, and that it's not getting, how does that company allow that to exist for that period of time online?
Bitch, you're gonna have to ask YouTube. That's like now when I say these two faggot motherfuckers here need their fucking heads cut off, YouTube is gonna fucking flag me for all kinds of inciting violence and shit. And then I see people on this motherfucker talking like they're literally changing the language. Fuck it, never monetize me. If I gotta play make believe, fuck monetization. Because to accept that is to accept their bullshit rules, to not say what the fuck it is you think. I'm sitting here looking at two fucking fruit pops. Two disgusting motherfuckers. And nobody else could see that. And now they get a sentence to go off and be somebody's bitch in prison, which is going to be just right up their alley. And this bitch is trying to figure out how is this happening? Because they allowing this shit to happen. The same way again, because I'm calling these two faggots, I'll be flagged for that. And again, you got millions of people trying to dance around to save their monetization, to not say that these two son bitches need their heads cut off. Why is anybody renting? I keep saying renting. Why is anybody adopting, allowing gay couples to adopt, male or female? I don't give a fuck how you feel. Once you decide to lay with the same sex, you give up the right to have or rear a child. And then when shit like this happened, these two boys go and adopt two different little boys and straight start fucking them in the ass. And then started sharing them out with the friends. Not only that, they was doing porn, and then this lady who you guys can't see on screen is surprised. But Epstein Island and all this other shit you hear about, and we're surprised. Again, I will get copyright struck for this fucking, for my language and all kinds of shit.
It just blows my mind.
Community guideline rules and shit.
Absolutely agreed. Thinking about the details of this case, going through it, I don't even like having to think about it. But the fact that some kids deal with this, some parents deal with it, it's just disgusting, the fact that we have to talk about it. But you brought up something really good. You brought up OnlyFans.
She's disgusted that they got to talk about it, and these two little niggas assholes will never be the same. And she's probably got some damn gay friends who are talking about adopting, as if that shit is not the sickest fucking thing in the world for a gay couple to want a child. That is disgusting. That is retarded. No disrespect to retarded people. Can't be that retarded. You're not gay, I guess.
This is something we saw in this case. I believe the investigators said there were 7 terabytes worth of child sex material. Now, a terabyte is huge. That's a lot of files and details. That is an overwhelming amount of evidence, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very much so. And hence the guilty plea, I believe. And thank God for that. But it, you know, from what I understand, that they had cameras all over their house. They were
sound like some Diddy shit to me.
Them in ways they're just horrific.
That's what that sounded like right there. Sound like some diddler action going on there. Yeah, check this out though.
Behind me, what sits above it is a ghost town. Planes dropped flame retardant from the sky, hoping to prevent the Palisades fire from ravaging even more of Los Angeles County. This week, multiple wildfires have destroyed countless homes, businesses, and cars, while forcing hundreds of thousands of residents to evacuate. So far, the fires have consumed an area larger than San Francisco.
Our top priority remains saving lives and protecting property.
As Saturday wore on, winds picked up again, heightening concern that the wildfire, already the most destructive in LA history, could move to more densely populated areas.
Ground crews and aerial assets worked through the night in the Mandeville Canyon area, creating containment lines and protecting structures, continuing a full suppression effort.
Homes here in the Mandeville Canyon have burned as the Palisades fire rages on for hours with no clear end in sight.
When we first started out in this area about an hour ago, the air was relatively clear. Now the wind has shifted and now we're back in the smoke.
LA's police chief says a new task force will investigate the cause of the catastrophic fires.
This task force is made up of local, state, and federal partners designed to investigate the cause of these fires and to see if there's any connection between them.
On Saturday, law enforcement warned people who have been driving up to get a closer look at the blazes to stay away. The Palisades fire has just been so devastatingly destructive, and these fire crews, as we enter night 5 of this relentless firefight, are up against so much. Not only a rapidly moving and changing fire that's even creating its own weather storms within itself, they're having to battle the wind that's moving it to different parts of the Los Angeles community. So that's what we're going to be tracking tonight and keeping a close eye on.
All right, Ashley Sharp, live for us tonight. Ashley, thank you. Team coverage continues now with our own Christina Fan. She is live for us in Brentwood, where Ashley just mentioned crews continue battling the Palisades fire. Christina.
Good evening, Jess. Behind us, you're looking at what remains of the eastern front of the Palisades fire. And for the last couple of hours, there has been a very, very intense aerial fight. In fact, in the distance, you can hear the hum of several helicopters that are circling the area, and they have been working despite increasing wind speeds. We've been camped out at this vantage point now for 2 nights, watching firefighters try to hold the line, because on the very next Ridge, where we are standing right now, there are several clusters of home. Firefighters have made lots of progress, relentlessly dropping water and retardant into the canyon. And in this daylight video, you can see those reddish streaks and the fire staying boxed in those lines. You can also see a home at the very bottom of the canyon that firefighters have so far been able to save. But just in case the aerial attacks do not hold, firefighters need a backup plan. And that is why there was a team of 7 to 8 dozers in this neighborhood, cutting down the dry, low-lying vegetation on a nearby hill, getting rid of any fuel that could easily light up. This neighborhood is under a mandatory evacuation, and families told us they were taking no chances as they packed up to leave.
Some study and talking to some firemen before, and my understanding is that if the fire come to the ridge, it's getting very close. But the minute they come down, then it become very dangerous, because after they come down, the next thing is coming up process is really fast. And if they already starting down, and if we wait until they start coming up, it was too late. So we decided to do that, to evacuate at that time.
And as you just heard, that gentleman told us he was really contemplating on whether or not to stay. But after consulting with those firefighters and remembering the images earlier this week of the Palisades fire decimating entire communities, he did not want to take that chance. Now, with the wind speeds expected to pick up again soon, and those Santa Ana winds to really power up and last through the middle of next week with no rain in sight, we expect a very, very tough firefight for firefighters ahead, and that is why tonight is so important for them to try and gain the upper hand here. Reporting live from Brentwood, I'm Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
Oh yeah, Christina, thank you. It seems like the situation is changing minute by minute. Cannot imagine the anxiety and uncertainty. Let's go to Masa Saidi now. She's live in Los Angeles with emotional stories from evacuees. And Masa, I can't imagine the emotion, the anxiety, the fear of what's going to happen next. I'm sure you heard stories like that tonight.
Yeah, stories like that all day, Jessica. Good evening to you. I'm told that right now there's about 190 veterans at this shelter behind me. They all live together in a community that was created for them nearby in Brentwood. At 1 a.m. this morning, when we saw that horrific blaze, the Palisades fire, start to ignite again and start to spread, they were told that it is time to get out. So this is where they're going to be sleeping, Jessica, in cots. And they also told me, several of them, that they're cold, that they have a very light blanket, but that's all they have. But the good news is that they are in the process of bringing them more blankets as well, and their homes are expected to be okay. That has not been the case in other shelters that we visited today. Earlier, we were in Westwood, where so many families that we spoke with, they had lost everything, including a young woman from Malibu.
This is my pet goat, Coco. She got traumatized by the fire. She lost her house and her comfortable home, and it's been really hard on her. I'm just trying not to think about it. You know, when it first happened, I didn't even process it. And then all of a sudden, like 5 hours later, it hit me when I was like, oh, but everything's going to be okay after a few days. Like, we're just going to go home. And then I was like, there is no home. It sucks, but like, I mean, it's worse for Coco. So, you know, it's just like, whatever.
I lost everything. My boyfriend, I thought I was going to his house to be safe, but his house burned down too. So it's overwhelming. I've never lost a house before.
It's unimaginable. You know, the woman you just interviewed, she thought she would go to her boyfriend's house. That house had also been demolished. We know a lot of people have gotten out, but the people who are there, are they getting the help they need? Are the resources plentiful enough? What's the situation?